If you're like most companies, your sales and marketing teams are going after the list of prospects that could buy your solution. That's possibility. But you want to focus on the prospects that will buy. In other words, probability. How do you get from possibility to probability? Spend the next 15 minutes with Jay Gaines, Service Director of Demand Creation Strategies at Sirius Decisions, and Jim Higgins, CEO of BAO, to find out how intelligence-based targeting can improve sales and marketing productivity.
If there's one thing I'd like you to take away from this session, it should be this. An account-by-account understanding of your target market and their buying behaviors is an absolutely critical factor in your go-to-market strategy.
Usually when we talk to our clients, the first thing that we see as they're new clients, and this isn't universally true, but it's generally true for most B2B companies, is that they're targeting at the segment level. Now, a segment means different things to different types of organizations, but it's usually a vertical industry approach or a regional approach. So it's either horizontal or vertical segmentation that they're dealing with, but it's fairly broad. And within that segment, they're saying, well, all of these companies could possibly buy from us, right? That's a world of possibility they live in. Companies that have gathered more intelligence, have more detailed understanding of their target audiences, will sometimes get down to a sub-segment level, and that's a sub-vertical where they're kind of breaking up into smaller chunks and saying, okay, well, within the healthcare vertical, for example, we know that pharmaceutical companies have unique problems that we can solve, and they're most likely to buy from us. So they get down to that more granular level. Now, as companies really begin to add to their intelligence, they can get down to the account level under targeting. So move beyond segments into accounts and really try to understand, okay, well, within these target segments we've identified, which are the accounts that are most likely to buy from us? And again, this is all based on intelligence, and we'll talk about how to get that intelligence in a little bit. And buying center is really the same as account. Many companies define account differently, and sometimes it's buying center. And then, of course, those best-in-class companies actually get to the point of really understanding and targeting to buyer roles and personas. So as we know in the B2B world, it's usually a group of people who are making a purchase decision. You have all sorts of influencers. There might be C-level executives involved, which might include a chief financial officer, which is going to care about completely different things than a chief information officer, for example. You're going to have end users. You're going to have champions there and all sorts of people. And understanding those buyer roles and the process they go through is what allows you to target at this granular kind of persona level. So, how do we get there? Again, it's about gathering intelligence. As we work with our clients and help them begin to understand how they can improve efficiency across their organization through better targeting, we begin to look at the data that they have. And usually there's kind of three categories of companies we see. And usually a lot of companies are in this kind of stage one, which means that they have very little data. They might have some basic account information. They might have some internal knowledge of industries and segments, but it really doesn't go very, very deep. Next level is companies that say, yeah, you know what, we have pretty good data. We really do understand our accounts at a slightly deeper level, and we've got good contact information. We've got fairly clean data. And that's a big challenge for us in the B2B world, as you know. All the stats are out there. 25% of our databases are flawed. So these companies tend to have slightly deeper data and data that's more clean. Stage 3 companies, though, are very different because they combine data with intelligence. And the only way this happens is when marketing and sales collaborate to create deep profiles and mapping of specific accounts and even sometimes segments of audiences. So that intelligence element is really what separates those companies from the pack. How does this happen, and what is the role of sales? What is the role of marketing? So each group brings something unique to the table. Sales tends to have such things as, they'll understand an account status. Are they currently a customer? Are they in a sales process? Were they once a customer? What does it look like right now? They understand the account opportunities on a lot of levels. They understand the objectives. They'll oftentimes have specific goals within specific segments or even specific accounts, and they'll define their sales strategy to get into those accounts. And the types of things that marketing needs to add to get to this deeper level of intelligence and therefore deeper level of targeting are things like wallet share. Those are things marketing typically adds. So meaning how much do they spend in this industry, and specifically how much do they spend with us? History in terms of customer feedback and that sort of thing. So have we worked with them in the past? Do we know what that relationship was like? Was it good or was it bad? And also kind of what is the product or service portfolio that maps to these accounts as well, or should map to them? They'll also dig up additional account data. They'll find buying centers. They'll look at install base sometimes. And I know a lot of people right now are like, well, how do they get install base? How would marketing know that? How would they get that kind of details? And again, we'll talk about that in just a minute. They look at prioritization of accounts, and again, that might be a shocker for a lot of people on this call. Why is marketing prioritizing accounts for sales? They're not doing it for sales. They're doing it with sales, and I'll talk exactly about how that happens as well. And then they're developing those programs to support the sales strategy based on an understanding of the sales strategy. So it's this collaboration between the two, this gathering of intelligence. But the key here is that the heavy lifting in terms of intelligence isn't something field salespeople should be tasked to do. Their time and effort is far too valuable. They need to be focused on moving deals forward. So it really needs to fall to marketing or other functions to gather a lot of this intelligence to be able to do the deeper targeting. I'm going to be talking a little bit about relative targeting and what that means. So when we say relative targeting, that word relative is in there because you're comparing things against each other, right? You're comparing segments or accounts against each other to identify those which are best in terms of the opportunities they present to your organization. So the problem, again, in most organizations that we work with at Sirius is that they're dealing with too many segments. They have too much to do in terms of marketing being spread too thin. So one of two things happen. Either they're constantly scrambling, trying to create different messaging, different creative, different offers for all these different segments, which is going to dilute their efforts because the quality will suffer. Or they say, you know what, let's just make it general. I know we're dealing with 15 different segments here, but we're just going to make some general messaging and content and offers, and that really dilutes the impact as well. There's a lot which creates sales inefficiencies because usually marketing in these scenarios can't qualify leads deeply. They're not bringing leads that are really on target to the sales team, which creates a lot of inefficiency for sales, and it just adds up to a lot of wasted effort and time for both sides. So the solution to that is this idea of, hey, let's take all those segments, compare them against each other according to some very key criteria, and identify those that are best and those that we should spend more resources on. When we look at relative targeting at the segment level, what we do is we work with our clients to pass all the segments they're focused on through two sets of criteria. That includes external factors and internal factors. External being those things that they have no control over. It's things like industry trends, new legislation or regulation that might be impacting an industry, how hard hit specific segments are by the down economy, how tight are budgets. Competitive presence, is there a very strong competitor there who's well-liked? Or maybe you have a competitor in place who's recently been acquired and they're being disrupted due to the integration with their acquiring company, so you know there's an opportunity there. So you're looking at those factors that you can't control, but they're either going to help you or hurt you in your effort to sell into that segment. Now, the internal factors, of course, are things that you can control. It includes things like, hey, how close do our solutions come to what they really need, and how can we change that? Do we have deep domain knowledge in this segment? Are we ready to create compelling messaging and help our sales team engage buyers in discussions? Also, do we have good data? So that domain knowledge is the intelligence, and the data is, do we have contacts? Do we know the companies that are here? Or are we going to have to rent lists that might be lower quality? So these are just examples of core criteria we see used very often. And as you can see, it's a fairly simple process. And what comes out the other end, if you start with 15 segments, you might end up with 4 that are most ideal. And again, that doesn't mean you're going to ignore all the others. It just means you're going to weight your effort a little bit more heavily on those 4 segments where the opportunity really lies. And it's really the path of least resistance.
Marketing and sales really have the same goals despite how the comp plan and the ROI within each group is calculated. It's to build pipeline and drive deals. More and more, obviously, marketing is being aligned with that, as Jay mentioned earlier. This idea of relative targeting seems like an interesting approach because if we can get to the companies who have the best chance of winning, where the money is being spent, then we stand a really good chance of growing our pipeline and beating our revenue goals. But how can you do that? How can you get to market quickly with a new targeting strategy? What are the steps required to actually go to an account-by-account level to determine where to put your sales and marketing efforts? And how do you align the sales and marketing efforts to drive revenue faster and, most importantly, increase sales productivity? So how do you do it? First step is you need a blueprint. So one of the things we do with our clients first is talk about who buys from you, and we ask our clients to be really honest about it. If your client needs to have a certain technical infrastructure in place, if they have to be a certain size, if they need to have 100 call center agents in order to buy your software, those are the key drivers, not necessarily just are they in a certain industry, are they over a certain revenue capability. We want to drive beyond demographics into literally this account matches up with what we can sell to them. Once you do that, we then go out and identify which companies within that segment actually match up to be high probability buyers for our clients. So we find those companies who have 100 call center seats. We find the companies who are dissatisfied with their current CRM solution. We work individually with our clients to determine what is the blueprint of that market that's going to determine where the high probability buyers are. Once we've identified where the deals are, once we've identified where those high probability buyers are, we get our clients in front of executives there over and over and over again. One of the ways that we're leveraging this outside of a pure demand generation play is we help companies actually optimize their sales territories. So the example here is a real-world example. We actually worked with one of the largest technology companies in the world to work within their districts to try to focus their sales reps on where the money was. So this particular district, kind of a typical district within this account, had 5 sales reps. One sales rep had only 50 accounts. The newest sales rep on the team had 350 accounts. So we have 925 accounts here that have been passed down or passed over the years. We actually went in and profiled these accounts to determine, first of all, do these belong in this segment? Are they real accounts? And then where are the high probability buyers within these segments? Pretty quickly, we disqualified over 40% of this market. So we found that 40% of the companies that fell into this sales district either were too small for this district, their buying decisions were being made out of a different location, whether it's another country or they're a subsidiary and they don't make any buying decisions on their own. More than half of these actually we helped our client pass down to the SMB teams so they could use a lower cost channel to target these accounts. So while that 40% that we disqualified were getting the attention they deserved, we were helping our client focus their valuable sales resources on the 60% of the accounts that actually had a chance to buy from them. Within those accounts that we ended up with on the actual account tab, we also knew if they were buying, what pains and challenges they had, what competitive landscape was in place, so that the salespeople weren't just looking at it as an account, they were looking at it as an opportunity. This is just another way outside of am I generating leads. This is am I optimizing my sales and go-to-market efforts most effectively so I can point my efforts towards where the money is. So that's a productivity driver, and every sales leader will tell you they want their sales reps more productive. By using this account-by-account intelligence, you can make them more productive by actually focusing on the accounts where they really have a good chance to win. It sounds like an easy concept, but once we gather that intelligence and leverage it properly, it can be used to do that. So once you've determined, let's say 25% of your market has an actual active budgeted project for your solution right now, the goal obviously is to get in front of those prospects and start those sales cycles right away. So we obviously offer our appointment setting capabilities to do that. But in addition to, again, just the lead generation campaign or the appointment setting piece of it, we can use this intelligence to segment the market and find where is our underperforming markets and verticals. We can do competitive attack programs. So we've identified the 21% of our market that is with competitor A. Let's tailor a marketing and sales joint campaign to go unseat that competitor and try to win market share back from that competitor. So using this intelligence, it's not just about am I getting data. It's am I getting information about these accounts and then leveraging that in my marketing efforts and my sales efforts. This is where we see the real rub. We see a huge increase in productivity and a huge increase in ROI in terms of dollars to pipeline and revenue. Overall, we're the leader in gathering that intelligence. We can do that on a day-to-day basis. We can help you roll up that intelligence and understand your market much more deeply, help you customize those marketing and sales campaigns after the right places. We've done it for hundreds of companies, and as we say here, we love to do it for you.
We hope you learned some key insights to help improve sales and marketing productivity in your organization. If you have questions or would like to find out how BAO can help you move from possibility to probability, contact us today.